Alright guys, I thought I'd show you this. I got it all taped off, all the parts that weren't going to be black. And I know it looks like the whole plane is black, but a lot of this, guys, I went ahead and put thick tape on. For example, right here on the fuselage, on the back going up, the only thing on here that is actually black is that center spar going all the way back, and then partial down here. The rest of that's all taped off. On the wings, kind of doing a symmetrical design. Now remember, let me see if I can get it out of the light here. I went with a semi-gloss black. I didn't go with a gloss because it's a military jet, and even though it looks really glossy, most of those really glossy areas are actually the blue non-stick tape, which by the way worked great on this plane in testing. Left it on for over 24 hours. Came back, peeled it off slow, peeled it off fast. Didn't peel any paint off, any of the silver that it naturally was. And it's just the, I think I have it out here, yeah. It's just, let's see, this right here. It's a good old Scotch 3M. It's the painter's tape that you use. It's not supposed to stick to anything. Now, it pulls the paint off of every other plane I've tried to use it on. But another benefit here on these wings makers is their manufacturers is the way they do their foam. I told you in a previous video, the foam is just different. And I can stick even clear packing tape onto the wings, pull it off, and it does not pull anything off. Now, it probably will after my paint job here, but we'll see. I'm going to still have to put a coat or two on the nose cone here. And this is going to be a good example, guys. The nose cone and then this top little induction piece, which goes into where my battery and electronic speed control to give it airflow. Now that's all tape all around it. The only thing is sticking out is that and the nose cone. But I want you to look at the nose cone here, okay? See the way that that is pitted up and kind of it looks thick in places, and then there's holes and seems like there's no paint in other places. Now that is exactly what the rest of the plane looked like on the first coat. Yes, I did clean it with alcohol, rubbing alcohol. I went over all surfaces I was going to paint. The thing is, with the wings makers models, like I told you, the EPO foam is different than other foams. It is very smooth and silky and has a very, almost like they already put a clear coat on it. Now, I did not want to sand this. I have done the sanding of the foam to make the paint stick better, and I'll tell you what, when you're done, it does not look like that. That isn't the actual painted surface there. All the way back. That's not a taped off area. That is painted, and it looks great. I had to put about a little over four coats on it because when I painted it the first time, the first coat I put on it all looked like that. Now, what you do if it comes out looking like that is don't freak out. Like I said, if you're using the paint I'm using here, the Krylon H2O latex, you got 20 minutes after you've already applied the paint to simply get a paper towel, anything, a cloth, warm water, and simply wipe it off. Now that's not what I did. Since I did not prime this, I used it just like this. However, when it was like that on the wing, I went ahead and got a paper towel, and what I did was I just smeared it back. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, it looked like hell, but I've done it with this type of foam before, and I knew where it was going. So what I ended up, my first layer all over the plane that I painted looking like that. Most people would freak out, try and start wiping it off and start sanding and going crazy trying to get that smooth. But remember, guys, you're putting on a lot of very thin layers. After about the second or third coat, I got very smooth results. Very even. Here's the other wing. Very even all along. Let's show you guys here. Alright, we'll go on this side here so I can show you. Now, most of that is taped off. The tip, however, at the top is painted. The base along here is painted as well as the back of the rudder. The rudder fin itself is not. I'm still undecided on that. But the wing, front canards, well, let me show you here. Part of the front canards is actually taped off right here. This center section is going to come out, is going to be black. The tip section here and all across here and coming back in on an angle is going to butt up perfectly, and it's going to be a red color. It's actually a Chinese red. It is also Krylon H2O paint. So I'm very pleased with the paint. I'm very pleased with the way it's turned out. I'm just going to put another coat on the nose and that little induction section there. I'll probably actually end up putting about 3 more coats on that. But the great stuff about this Krylon H2O, it dries fast. It was actually sprinkling a little bit earlier, and I'm actually out in the garage. It was sprinkling and raining, so the humidity is actually high as well, which is usually not a good idea to paint in high humidity. But I'll tell you what, I could not be happier. Out of all the paints I've used on foam, I have a feeling when I tear this tape off and the covering that it's going to look amazing. And another thing, guys, that's awesome with this Krylon paint, and I'm not trying to push a certain brand on you, I'm just telling you this stuff works great, is that when you go to tape off areas, instead of messing with paper and newspaper and all that kinds of crap, you can just simply use saran wrap. And it is, it's so much easier. Now, I already had my taped lines there. I already had my defined lines. So all I did was get more tape and go in the middle of my already defined lines. I laid down the saran wrap, taped the top leading edge, made sure it ran down nice and hard against my tape that was creating my lines, and you just bend it and twist it and mold it and then fold it under the wing, under the back and stuff like that. And even though it looks like black all over this wing, I lifted it up a minute ago and nothing on it, not even a drop. So another excellent thing about this latex paint H2O Krylon soap and water cleanup, remember that's the important part, is that unlike other paints which would melt right through extremely thin saran wrap, this saran wrap is a great cover for masking off your areas. Now the parts on the fuselage, there's a lot of curves and there's a lot of details. Everywhere you see a little bubble, something like that, actually a detail mold into the foam that I will hand paint with an acrylic paint and a artist brush after it's completed. But just kind of wanted to show you guys where it's at right now. Couple more layers on the nose here, and then I'll do another video ripping everything off, and we'll see how it looks. We'll see if that blue tape held, see if we blew anywhere. If we did, I'll show you an easy way to clean off this Krylon after it's dry without damaging a thing. So, alright guys, we'll see you here in just a few minutes and get an update, and the first coat will be done, and next I'm going to start taping off for the red, and then lastly the gray, the deep silver gray. So we'll go from there. Alright guys, stay tuned.